Welcome back to Mother Base Radio. I'm your host, Todd Sauceda, and I'm joined by the one and only Benito Garza and the illustrious Alex Capello. But of course, before we get started with the gaming news, let's get going with that song.
Let's go!
And whatnot, and so now my older brother and my niece subscribed onto NPC Party.
Oh wow!
YouTube.
Okay,
so that's
cool. Okay,
we got.
Oh yeah, no, it's whatever to me. Let them know that there's some of them, most of them, 99.9% of them are very long.
Yeah,
they're also not for young audiences.
Actually, that's very true. I told Barbie to desubscribe.
There's what was it, like 2 episodes ago where we talk about Sleepy Cabin, talking about bestiality. So we talk about that for like.
We also regularly bring Satan into this conversation. So
there's also the one where like there's a chapter just called Marcos, look up behind you.
What are we gonna call it this week?
Whatever we run into while we're talking.
All right, that sounds good.
I would prefer that these almost stay Marcos related.
Sure.
It is his podcast after that.
You know what? That is very true. We need to come up with something for Marcos. Shout out to Marcos.
Something I guess that just you guys recently brought up. I'm assuming, I don't know if we had this conversation before. Our channel's not going to be family friendly in any way.
Oh no, in no way.
That's kind of a dumb question, but I guess
we all think the same way, and sometimes
we have the gutter.
We can be civil, but we also play to the other end of the spectrum, where we talk about Marcos getting raped and
by one of his best friends.
By one of his best friends, and all sorts of fun horse shit that doesn't belong to small audiences.
Todd found the red baylet, and it had to be done. Oh, poor Marcos. I mean Casca.
There are a couple of podcasts I listen to that they censor whenever they cuss and stuff, because some of them want to be a little more friendly. And one of the podcasts that I listen to that has Max Scoville, he uses meows to cover when they say fuck or shit or something like that, and it's kind of funny, but it's no man, don't censor that. You're expressing yourself, so you don't. No one said you had to censor it.
Well, that's true, but at the same time, if they want to cater to a younger audience, it's
sure,
it's something inevitable, especially if you're around people who swear a lot.
Yeah,
and to be fair, sometimes censoring makes things more funny.
It does, like I said.
Oh hell yeah,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what was that series of little videos that I think it was Jimmy Fallon, or was it the other dude? That it's he would censor movie scenes, but that didn't need censoring. It sounded fucking great.
Markiplier recently started to do that.
Really?
Unnecessary censorship.
Okay, yeah.
And they're just mini clips of him talking to friends or something, but there's a bunch of little bleeps and bloops around everywhere. And
I think there's an entire YouTube channel dedicated to
awesome.
censoring television and movies to make it funnier.
That's cool.
I want to say that either there's a channel that has that, or that there's a channel that uploads that exclusively.
Because the first time I saw anything like that was on a late night show. And it was in the past 5 years or so, and I just don't remember what it was. I think it might have been, what's the other guy that I don't like? Carson? No.
Carson.
No.
Carson hasn't been on television.
Carson Daly, holy shit, that guy is no. What's the guy that does ABC that I don't like?
ABC.
He had Markiplier on. We had the discussion
Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, who dissed YouTubers and Twitch people. But he had that segment. I think it actually started a long time ago, maybe like 6 years ago or whenever, when Lost ended. And he would take clips from Lost and he would censor them, and some of them were hilarious. Some of them were hilarious. But
that's his writers, not him.
That's true, but it's technically his show.
It's his show. I never want to give Kimmel any credit for anything.
Oh, I agree with you.
Does Kimmel not do?
I don't think he's particularly funny, and he rubs me the wrong way, especially with the Twitch stuff. I know he's a comedian. He's going to make fun of everybody, but the fact that he had Markiplier on and some other people, and then he still made fun of them, was like, come on, they came on to show you what it's about. You know, I think there's a lot of other like late night hosts that are more open.
Conan is way more open.
Conan is way more open. I don't like Conan anymore though, but he is way more open. Also, it's also Jimmy Fallon. He consistently has people from the game industry on it. It's something you've never seen before. So.
Yeah, there are people who do it right, and I just think Kimmel just doesn't do it right.
Yeah, I don't think he's particularly funny either. You know.
There you go, podcast number 13. Fuck you, Jimmy Kimmel.
Fuck you, Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, I don't think he's particularly.
Or Marcos, let's go. Fuck Jimmy Kimmel.
Wow, that's a great YouTube
Marcos
video.
fucks Jimmy Kimmel.
That's Jesus. This is not friendly at all. Please tell your niece not to listen to this.
Oh man, we can't do it. Oh man.
You look so guilty.
Yeah. No, I was about to say, like, I feel like that was a perfect It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, Marcos fucks Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah. We need to do that. That's what this is. Each podcast intro name needs to be like the gang does something, but it's Marcos does something.
I love that.
Always Sunny, sort of. Yeah.
It's Always Sunny at Marcostown.
It's always sunny. It's always sunny at Langley Falls.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Around the water cooler at Langley. I wonder if at some point.
Oh my god!
I love that one. Okay, you want that title? I'll do it, but I don't know if I should probably censor that. I don't think. For
the sake of being funny, but just like F dollar sign blah blah blah.
Because I'm pretty sure you actually can't put cuss words in YouTube titles.
You know what?
I don't think so.
I have
never seen.
Like, I can't recall if I've ever seen like an actual curse on a title of YouTube.
It is actually true.
Which, I mean, they're not strict about that sort of thing, but they're not strict about the content in the video.
Just what represents it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, whatever. I can just censor it.
That's true.
I like that. Marcos Jimmy Kimmel. He tracks him down with his Langley skills. Langley skills. They're not spy skills. They're Langley skills. Langful skills. Oh man. I wonder if someday, if we grow old, assuming I grow old, that I'm gonna keep going with this Langley gag, and Marcos is one day just gonna be old and bitter. He's gonna be so tired of it. He's gonna punch me right across the face.
How's that for Langley?
How's that for Langley?
I'll show you my Langley skills.
Langful.
You fuck.
You. I love that one. I forgot to mute my phone.
This is not a kid-friendly podcast.
No, absolutely not.
I immediately regret.
You now need to.
I need to speak with
You need
Gus.
to Ocean's 11. And
Barbie's
your
phone.
Langley skills. Take Barbie's phone and just
Unsubscribe
from the NPC party. Not Gus. Gus won't care.
Gus doesn't care. I'm not sure how long Gus will pay attention to it, because I'm not sure how into he's gonna be this podcast. How into the podcast he's gonna be.
I mean, is he the kind of person that like looks up gaming stuff consistently, or not really?
Super often.
Okay.
I'd say.
Yeah, it depends.
He'll give it a shot.
Sure.
I'm sure he'll give it a shot.
If this doesn't, we could literally make this his news source for games.
Sure. So in the future, it's gonna be
hey Gus, play this.
or it's gonna feature the titles are gonna be Marcos and Gus.
Marcos and Gus.
Now we have two people that this podcast is for.
Yeah.
Damn,
Exclusively for two people.
Exclusively for two people. Again, like I've said before, like to like, you know, when Mikey or like Sam asks me or like Val asks me, it's like, no, well, you know, when I post it on SoundCloud, I get like 17, 18 listens, and it's like, I don't know who half those people are. But yeah.
We just need to attract the people that share so that we can spread
Sure.
around.
Yeah.
Because I mean, not like any listener is a good listener, but the ones that are like to share what they listen, like those are the ones that usually bring us more, you know, listens and stuff.
Yeah. And again, you know, that we hope to do that when we have our, you know, like legit podcast.
Yeah.
Not that this one isn't legit, but you know, like the one we're aspiring to, I guess.
Right.
True Mother Base.
True Mother Base Radio. I do like the name Mother Base Radio though. I like the way that sounds.
That's pretty
It
good.
rolls off the tongue well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And you know, for like this,
Father
no
base.
matter how many viewers this gets, it'll always be a podcast just for Marcos. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So even
Everyone
then,
was not Marco, so why are you listening? I don't know.
So even when we have that podcast going, the name is gonna be Marcos does this, Marcos does that.
Like what? Sure.
Like forever. Are we doing that? But by that time, he'll probably be involved.
That's possible.
Yeah.
We could have the Marcos Christmas special,
I like that.
the Marcos Halloween Halapalooza.
Okay, for Halloween, all you have to have are giant tubs of mayonnaise and ranch. Because he doesn't. You have no context. Marcos and the giant tubs of
Absolutely.
mayonnaise and ranch. He doesn't like either.
Okay.
He doesn't like He doesn't like mayonnaise or ranch.
As for the Halloween special, we just make a big bubbling cauldron of mayonnaise and ranch and just put it under the mic. Just let it bubble.
Do you hear that, Marcos? Mayonnaise and ranch.
She's gonna stop mid walk and like keel over and barf just right now. Just watch.
Oh, that's good.
He's like, I wonder what that sound is, and then Benny's like, it's mayonnaise and ranch, and then he'll just imagine it in his mind, and he'll barf. Yeah.
So, how was your week?
Oh, my week was okay. It was
We're starting with Todd today.
Sure.
This is new.
wow.
Sure.
I don't know how to
So there was a moment of silence, and I decided to break it
I don't know how to-
with the perfect segue.
It was that felt more natural than any of our segues so far.
Hey, man,
our segues are good,
I
but
drive that 18-wheeler hard, all right?
that's the thing. Some of the segues we come up with are good, but they feel so pressed in.
Gosh, that's perfect. Though.
Yeah.
It usually
Good on.
beats into the listener.
Yeah.
It beats a segue into the listener.
Gotta beat that ADD out of the person. You know, you gotta keep their attention.
Yeah. This week has been
Marcos beats ADD.
This week has been okay. I've been doing painting, some housework, and random stuff like that. I started vlogging.
I saw.
I saw.
Oh, you guys actually saw it?
Yeah. The
We are
dull and
subscribed
boring
to it.
That's
podcast.
right. I always forget that.
Yeah,
We are half of your subscription base.
Out of this-
I'm not sure if you noticed, but the moment I saw it, I put dull and boring LOL.
You know what?
Alright.
I saw that at the moment and didn't put two and two together for some reason. I'm like, don't know what you mean. I'm like, oh wait,
The dull and boring.
yeah. Well, if you saw it, I say in it that I don't know how often I'll do it, but I just need an excuse
For the
to
sake
edit.
of practice.
For the sake of editing stuff, that's the only reason I'm doing it. I told myself I'd probably do it like bi-weekly, but now I feel like I'm just gonna do whenever the fuck I want. Because after all the news that came out from EA's thing yesterday, I was like, I want to talk about that now. But I'll probably record one
Save it
tomorrow.
for-
Actually, no lie, I recorded something today, but I wasn't happy with it, so I'm just gonna re-record it tomorrow in the morning.
Oh.
Yeah. But like I said, I just need an excuse to edit stuff, and that's a good way to do it and post it just for the hell of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't want to just call it Vlog 1. So I thought Dull and Boring Life of Todd sounds right. Yeah. And then what I want to do with new like episodes of it or whatever, new uploads, is that have little text like bubbles pop up whenever I like to correct myself in case I say something wrong. But I'm gonna make them all like really self-deprecating,
Okay.
just to add to the dull and boring life.
A vlogger who is actually one of my favorite musicians. His name is Aurelio Voltaire. He does
Sounds familiar.
a goth. He does a goth sort of like update vlog.
Okay.
And
Parody.
It's his like blog for like what he's doing,
Sure.
what he's releasing, and but he's a goth musician. He's very much into the goth lifestyle, and what he does is he has a prop next to him. His name is Orville Dedenbacher, and it's like a desiccated corpse that he sits next to, right?
Okay.
And as he's doing the podcast, like he talks to Orville Dedenbacher, and that Orville is the most like ruthlessly cynical and like this nasty person.
Dead
like,
corpse.
He says nothing but bad things about Aurelio. So
Okay.
but it's Aurelio's own writing, or Voltaire's own writing. So that's how he does it.
Okay.
There's a dead
A back and forth.
yeah. And it's actually he does it pretty well.
That's cool.
It's kind of funny.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I thought that would add a nice little bit to it, a nice little bit of text editing.
Yeah.
And I already have the like the specific bubble type that I want to use. It almost like a comic strip bubble type. So I thought, yeah, that one looks good. So, but I think what I might do is I want to record in this room for that, but I hate that there's like it's blank in the background. And I know it's not about in the background, but it just adds.
Yeah, that's a
It adds atmosphere, I guess. I don't know. That's probably dumb.
It's decorative.
Sure, decorative. So I might move some stuff just like behind me for the purpose of just having it in the video.
Start bringing Compla over.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe.
Well, like Dodger has her shelf of like Ebolas.
Oh yeah, but the difference is that that's just because it's naturally there, and here I don't have anything naturally here, so I'm going to be doing it for the effect.
You can start bringing stuff from your room down
Yeah, I want to do that anyways, like put up
shelves and whatnot.
So,
Jesse
also has a thing, and she has like Jesse gets free shit all the goddamn time.
Yeah.
And he has this really nice Kerrigan Queen of Blades figure in
right.
the back.
Wow.
And he also has this really nice Jury Han figure. And God, it really does add to when he's doing his blog. Like it's just really nice stuff to look at.
Like that you own the giant thing where he's like,
oh yeah, that's super cool.
But yeah, I do that. I'll probably bring some stuff down here. And that first one that I uploaded, that was my 4th time recording it, just because I wasn't happy with the other recordings, not for just some random stuff. Also, the first time I recorded it, I recorded over 40 minutes, and that wasn't the problem. But I forgot to change the video quality, so it was an unsupported file.
Oh.
And I was like 40 minutes, like Jesus. Second time, I forgot what happened. Oh, second time I just wasn't happy with it. Third time, I was recording it in the evening, and then I didn't think about the fact that daylight was going to diminish. And then so it just it's like every minute gets darker. So the last 10 minutes, you could barely see me. So I thought, this is not going to work. Yeah, I want to record. I want to do it in this room. And I don't want to use, I don't want to turn on the light or anything. I want to use natural daylight for it, because I think it looks a lot better. But yeah.
You have pretty good windows to supply enough.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's kind of it. Gaming-wise, just Dishonored. I started playing Dishonored Definitive Edition.
So the Bloodborne train has stopped?
For now. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to it. I'm probably not this week because I'm
curious question. Where did you leave off?
I'm still on Big Rim.
Are you still on? Okay, you're still on spooky people and werewolves.
Yeah. He is about to be able to run to the pizza cutter.
Yeah, you're so close.
If you want something that I recommend and
Lloyd's Talismans.
Besides Lloyd's Talismans. Wait, that's Dark Souls. What do you do? Dude.
They're not literally called Lloyd's talismans, but it's the equivalent where you throw them and they can't heal.
Yeah,
that's a Lloyd talisman.
Like after you beat Vicar Amelia, I suggest going into the Hunter's Dream and just blowing past. Well, you have to know the route, but you can blow past all the enemies, pick up a specific weapon, and then get the fuck out.
The specific weapon, the actual name is called the Whirly Gig Saw.
It's a pizza cutter.
Everyone calls it the pizza cutter. So in first form, it's a club. It's a very simple club. It has kind of like the Kirk's hammer moveset, I think, if I remember correctly. And then when you use the trick weapon, you add this two giant saws that have like their own little thing that makes them move.
Okay.
You jam it into your club, and now you're two-handed, and it's a giant spinning weapon of doom.
Okay, cool.
And it's a really... Not only is it one of the best weapons in the game, and especially for PvP, but it's also super fun. It's a fun weapon to use.
I didn't encounter that in my first...
Oh, you didn't have the old Hunter DLC, though.
It's in the old Hunter.
Oh, okay, that's why.
You have to beat Vicar Amelia, and that's when you unlock the ability to get into the
DLC. Okay.
And from there you...
Cool.
So yeah, you would have to find the route. There is a really easy way to do it, but I would recommend. I would recommend doing only that because the old Hunter DLC is difficult.
It's difficult,
yeah. First,
is very difficult.
Get close to beating the actual game, and then maybe take a visit.
Yeah,
cool.
Like set the workshop on fire and then go to the Hunter's Dream.
Did you set it on fire? No,
he
doesn't.
He did.
He didn't.
Well, Todd claims he beat the game, so
you got the most basic ending. Do you get to see it on fire if you get the most
right
basic
after
ending?
you beat Margot, or not Margot, his wet nurse. Right after you beat the wet nurse.
I don't remember anything.
Because that's technically the final boss for the worst ending, or the final boss for the earliest game ending.
Okay.
Because there are like what three endings or four.
There's three.
The earliest ending you can possibly get, you have to beat Murgle's wet nurse and then travel back to the Hunter's Dream, and then something happens.
Yeah.
Stuff happens.
Yeah.
Story happens.
Marcos
the game, happens.
Apparently.
Marcos in the Hunter's Dream.
I need to. I want to get back to it, but I don't know. I've been wanting to just play something not Dark Souls-ish.
Not Dark Souls.
Yeah.
You're the exact opposite of me. Like, I really want to play fucking Dark Souls.
I understand.
But I just can't. Like,
yeah.
Really.
I got you. Yeah, I just been playing Dishonored. Kind of. Yeah, I like that game. I never got to finish that DLC either, so that's why I just had to play it. And on the PS4, it looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
No, this looks really good. I mean, I like it. Graphically, it's not.
Was it a recent release?
No, it came out last August.
Yeah.
It's the re-release of it.
Yeah.
But it comes with all the DLC, the 2 DLCs.
You might want to look into that one.
It's a good game. I forgot how good that game was, man. I mean, I love that game, but I forgot how good it was. And I guess coincidentally, they announced the release date for Dishonored, which we'll talk about later. But that's kind of all I've been playing. I've been kind of playing that. I want to finish it by Monday night because Uncharted 4 comes out this week, and that's all I'm going to play. I'm going to try to platinum that if I can.
So people have been saying really good things about Uncharted
Yes.
4. Except I saw one thing about it being super broken on
really?
PC, or no, that's not right.
No, that's not right at all.
Something was super broken.
Okay, about the game.
But that might be like a day one patch or something, or there was some bug somewhere.
It could be. Most of the review copies that I know of were retail copies, not debugs. So could be. I'm not too sure. But yeah, it's been getting really good reviews. Usually, you can tell that a game's going to get good reviews when the review embargo comes up a week before instead of the day of or the night of. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I didn't doubt it, but I didn't expect necessarily to see 10s from a bunch of different websites just because I thought, well, a lot of people thought they can't outdo themselves, with...
After what they've done...
in the past, well, with Uncharted 2 in particular, story-wise, but it looks like they have, so I can't wait to play it. I mean, some of them were even saying that this is the defining moment for the PlayStation so early on.
Do you think you can go blind into Part 4 without any prior knowledge? Or
I don't think so. No. I mean, the reviews that I've read don't particularly mention whether you can or not. But as somebody who has played, most of the games multiple times, you can't. It's
You're
not.
You're gonna be lost with a bunch.
You're gonna be so lost about the characters. That's the thing.
His brother, for one.
His brother, for one, the relationship, really just the relationships that Drake has with like Elena and all these people. You're not gonna.
Elena from Resident Evil 4, 5, 6.
Not
there you go.
4, 5, 6 from 6. Elena.
Yeah, you're not going to understand any of it. It's weird, though, because it's like an action game, and most people think you can just get into it. And I think it's interesting because it's not as complex of a game.
Mechanically, you can get into it.
Yeah.
Story-wise, you can.
You're just not going to get it. I mean...
usually they provide a buffer, because I know there are some people who just won't, but it's probably better.
I won't. If I play it, I'll probably just, jump in blind. But I was thinking of either getting both of you or one of you to just kind of...
explain
while we're playing.
I can do that.
It won't be me because I like Uncharted, but I haven't played through all the games.
I can do that for you.
The three of us can still do it.
Yeah, I can do that for you. That's not too hard. I remember most of the important things from the previous games. The thing about Uncharted is the characters. They're really memorable, and I can't wait to play it. I'm liking that it's that good. So. Also, the one thing I am sad about is that I'm coming to the realization of, and that I'll probably come further to a further understanding, is that this is the last game in the series, and I just can't imagine that just because it seems like it's very like Indiana Jones.
It's Dark Souls all over again. Like the person, this is it. Sure, yeah. We'll see when it comes out.
Yeah. But this is like definitively it, at least for Naughty Dog. They could. No, Sony can definitely grab it and give it to Nerd Studio, but that wouldn't be the same.
Does it belong to Sony though?
It is.
I
yes.
know it's exclusively on Sony.
Well, they own Naughty Dog. They are the definitive first party studio. They are owned by them, and the IP belongs to them.
I'm waiting for Last of Us 2.
Yeah, I think that's something that we will realistically see at E3, even if it's just a teaser. But it will not be this year. It will be. I think. Watch. 2018.
2 years.
Yeah,
2 years sounds like a reasonable.
There's a discussion to be had, which I'm sure we've done personally, but for the podcast about should it have gotten a 2?
I want a 2 in the sense that I don't care if it's the same characters.
See, a 2 with different characters, I find would be really
okay.
interesting.
Because I think their story is done as far as
or a very much older hamburger phone.
You know what? That's fine.
Yeah,
I'd be okay with that. Let's pretend it's a good 10-15 years later.
Joel. She's as
old as Joel.
Wow, that's interesting.
I
was thinking maybe put her in the age of maybe 19, maybe 30. Between 19 and 30.
Middle-aged.
Yeah, I would say 30 to 40s.
Yeah. And have
interesting.
People found out that Hamburger Phone is still alive and she's still cordyceps proof, and they attack the village, and now she goes Joel crazy, and now she needs to kill everyone.
You know what? Village. That's a very plausible thing. I mean, that game is unpredictable.
Appreciate just 2 completely new characters. It doesn't even have to be 2 completely characters. It could be one new character, and it's about him.
We're gonna get into this for.
we're gonna sidetrack if we continue this.
It would be such a good thing to just discuss.
You know what? Topic cast. Topic this.
Okay, how about this? Screw it.
Make this the topic.
I'll edit this, and well just do the topic now, and I'll just edit this to show up at the end. You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So
that's so weird.
So I feel like I'm gonna. All right. So here's the plan. Boom. Naughty Dog, are you listening? Marcos, listen up as well.
Yeah. Okay. This is. I like that idea though of a significantly older Ellie, because a lot of people have the concept that she'll be late teens or early 20s. Or right afterwards.
The thing is, I don't know. I very much enjoy 1 as its own bubble.
It did its own story. It told its story.
It's incredibly satisfying.
Yeah, just like BioShock.
Yeah, just like BioShock. It's like that one piece is just very, very, very satisfying, and to see a direct continuation I feel almost does it a disservice. Not that the studio wouldn't be able to make it work, because they
probably can.
You don't want to give it the chance of maybe possibly feeling a little shoehorned.
Yeah,
this is what you mean.
Basically,
it's a story. It was told. It's a really good story. Mm. You don't want to but you remember this one thing that happened? Well, now it's still happening. Come back.
Yeah,
and you know what? I agree. Yeah,
because if it's going to be a continuation for one, it would be far more interesting to I don't even know if Joel should be in the picture.
Joel was old enough as is.
And if he is in the picture, I don't know if I would want him front and center. Imagine him as more like a wizened old guide for Ellie,
telling you what you should probably do.
Is significantly like I said, Ellie being significantly older would also be just really, really interesting.
I think a nice 25-year-old Ellie, not too old, so
might work,
she might be able to still adventure.
I kind of really do like.
Or you want Ellie all grown up, already has a family, and now she has to go.
She's just very experienced. She knows the world around her.
I would like that, because then they can do a dynamic where it was reversed, where Ellie is in Joel's position, and then she maybe has to ferry around someone younger, or a greenhorn. It could very well that sort of dynamic would also be very interesting, because it switches around the way that it was in the first game.
Yeah. Student is now technically a master, and now shoehorn in something. It doesn't have to be true.
There's definitely a workaround, and her companion doesn't necessarily have to be a child either.
No, it doesn't. It could be an adult.
Yeah,
it could be. It would be interesting. Someone held against. Maybe she's transferring a hostage or something. Someone against their will, which is usually you see companions as that companions.
A second person that's immune to it for some reason.
It'd be something like that too.
And now they have to find out what's going to happen.
Real quick, I do like the idea. I never thought of it. I do like the idea of a significantly older Ellie, just because if you think about it, if you really think about it, just because I guess we're used to be playing male characters in games. Joel is in his late 40s in the first game. He's nimble and he can move around, but you see how, spoilers, you see how, if you haven't played The Last of Us, Jesus Christ. Yeah, you see how...
Yeah, Marcos.
No, he's played it. You do see how near the end of the game, where he has a struggle in the university, and then he falls onto this metal thing, and so he's you see how weak he... Yeah, exactly. So I think the game, Naughty Dog is good at representing, hey, your character is human. They're not invincible. They're not this one-man army.
Even though it may feel like it.
Well, at times, sure, but I feel like a lot of situations in the game are a little more plausible than, say, Uncharted. That's why there's a huge contrast, because Uncharted is comedic slapstick kind of action where, Nathan Drake is literally killing 500 people and then having a drink with Sully.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea of an older Ellie. Maybe then... Like you said, Capello, I would prefer for it to be, I would prefer for Last of Us to be its own bubble, its own story. And if you want to continue it, continue in the universe. Have other characters. I mean, I think it's the kind of thing where, with BioShock, I don't think they should have made any sequels at all, even if they were in the same universe. But BioShock 2, while it had a lot to do with with the original story, it was just in the same city.
Yeah.
And
it was a lot further in the future also.
Was it?
I don't think significantly further, but it was in the future. It had been a lot. Actually, I think that they specifically say the numbers. I think it was 7 to 9 years.
Something like that.
Because you're put in a coma. Spoilers for BioShock 2.
Yeah.
But you're put in a coma and then you're reawakened, basically.
Yeah.
And so it's in the future, and it isn't the same person, but you see the influence that he had, and that the first main character had.
Jack.
Yeah. There you go. And but it isn't it's not the same characters at all. I think that was acceptable, and I do agree that the first BioShock would have done incredibly well if it stayed in that bubble. because it's just
it's its own beast.
Yeah, it's its own beast.
The Last of Us is its own beast too.
Exactly, and like there's nothing. I don't think there's would be anything wrong with making a sequel to The Last of Us, right? Because stories can still be told.
Absolutely.
There's people want to know what happened to Ellie, what happened to Joel, but at the same time, if
there were other people in the universe, essentially,
there were.
The world building is really good in that.
It's like you guys said, Joel and Ellie weren't the characters, although in terms of story they were the main characters, but the world was fleshed out, and there were people doing things.
Yeah. The world doesn't revolve around them, even though Ellie's situation with her immunity kind of insinuates that a little bit, but the world doesn't revolve around them.
Yeah.
And what another? Okay, I don't really have anything else to say because I would like to talk about potential story.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to get into too. Go ahead.
Okay, so. Wouldn't it be incredibly interesting if you had a Last of Us game from the perspective of someone in the fallen government, like the people, like after when everything is like in shambles and everything is dead? Like imagine somebody who is on the inside of like this collapsing system and who now has to police like a bunch of basically what human Neanderthals almost and. Having to deal with
the Fireflies are attacking again. Get more people down there.
Or even like a game from the perspective of somebody in the Fireflies.
Which I think that a lot of people would prefer.
Yeah. That would also be incredibly interesting. Or like even mashing it together. Like somebody who defected from the government and joined the Fireflies.
Have your character be in the Fireflies and just at the very end get murdered by Joel. And that's how the game ends. I'm sorry, you weren't special. You were just Firefly recruit number 5130.
While that's definitely not something I think that Naughty Dog would particularly do, I wouldn't put them out of their scope of view. Like, they could definitely pull something off like that. Killed by Joel. That'd be funny. Isn't there a game, isn't there a Ninja Gaiden game that came out not so recently where it was, this is related to that.
The zombie one.
I don't know if it was a zombie one, but it was the person the ninja you play
gets killed by Ryu.
And then
he's resurrected as a zombie.
And he's trying to exact his revenge on
Ryu
Hayabusa. Which I thought was a really interesting concept for a story, but apparently the game wasn't very good. But that would be cool.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. I don't know if Sony would be like, yeah, go ahead and do that because it's a huge AAA franchise. But
I could also imagine something really, really cool where you play as a person who's being infected by cordyceps.
Oh,
and like,
what a great idea!
You have like you're constantly on a timer almost, like, or it makes it feel like you're constantly on a timer. But,
okay.
But like you're desperate to find a cure, and you just so happen to fall into like this whole conspiracy where there might be a cure, and maybe that even leads you to Ellie.
That would be very interesting.
That would be. There's a lot of ways.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a section like 3 characters, and you get the small stories of 3 different people, and like the first one he gets infected and he just doesn't make he runs into what could have been the second character, and then
he dies,
and then like
that idea
you
too.
You have to be very careful in executing that sort of style.
It's a little tricky
because it might be overwhelming to do that sort of story.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a series of books that got a bit of popularity. It's called the Bartimaeus trilogy. I don't know if you ever.
No, I haven't.
So the Bartimaeus trilogy takes place in like this magical world, and basically the first main character finds a genie, and a very powerful genie, and they have to basically. He tries to use the genie to steal a magical artifact from another person. The thing is that the way that they did it in the first book wasn't terrible. Like they split it into 3 characters. It was the main character Bartimaeus, and then I think one of the villain's assistants or one of the antagonists. It was the very antagonist, the third part. The thing is that when they made the second book of the Bartimaeus trilogy, it was 5 different characters that each had their own stories, and I was like, like
that's too much.
I don't want to I want to know what happens to character 1 before I know what happens to character 2. I don't want to read character 1, character 2, character 3, then back to character 1,
sure.
back to character 2, and then suddenly there's character 4. They have to do it very 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 carefully if they want to do it.
Also, that cordyceps thing spreads from one day to another.
Yeah, that too. It does spread particularly quickly.
There's a specific character in The Last of Us who gets bitten, and the very next day he's already...
Granted, he's a kid, so maybe it's different for
a weaker immune system, maybe?
Also, they could work in, this character that's infected has, some resistance,
sure.
but it's still, spreading.
It's spreading.
Enough.
Yeah. That's a good way to spin it. Back to your thought, though, about having multiple characters. I don't think there are very many games that do that, and if they do, they don't do very well. The one that I've said before, Grand Theft Auto 5, it does three characters at once, and it executes it quite well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I wish I could say they did it well, but someone the Halo 5.
Sure, Halo 5.
Halo 5 does that, where they split it between Locke's team and Chief's team, but they did it poorly. They didn't do it well, in my opinion. It would have been great if Locke's team was a separate campaign and Chief's team was a separate campaign.
It's all mashed together into one.
They choose to split it, and they put instead of doing it separately, both are the same campaign, which means you get less time with Chief, which is the one that you care about, and more time, and then you get time with Locke, who is not a
particularly great character.
It's not a great character. He's not the worst character ever. But still, you want to focus on Chief when you want to focus on Chief, and if you got Locke as another campaign, that would have made it great because you get all the Chief that you want, and then oh look, there's no story.
With that one in particular, Chief was only in the 3 missions or something, which is
really
yes,
you don't I don't know why they did that. I know Halo is about the Spartans, but more than it's about the Spartans, it's about Chief.
And look, this is, and we talked about this before. This Halo is the kind of world where it's transmedia. There's so many stories with so many different characters that are not necessarily Chief. Look at ODST. You don't follow Chief. You follow Buck, who eventually becomes a Spartan, right? But they could have done that way better, in my opinion, too. Also, it's the kind of thing where I think that most other geez, I lost my train of thought. Characters. Okay, so the thing about Halo is that Master Chief is the character, and while I do appreciate them exploring other characters, and I'm pretty sure if anyone's listening to this would probably say, well, what about ODST? Well, the difference is that ODST was written very well. And it did have an interesting character that accepted his flaws and his failures. But I feel and I saw the cutscenes for Halo 5 because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to play it anytime soon. I was curious because I wanted an opinion. His character is written very poorly. I don't think there's anything particularly interesting about him. And this is not to say that 343 doesn't have the strengths to write a good game, because I thought 4 was pretty good. It was very well written, in my opinion. But
that one also focused only on Chief.
It did focus. It focused primarily on Chief's humanity, right? Which is not anything the other games explored. Going back to The Last of Us, while Joel and Ellie are the titular characters, this is more of a universe that you can see. You can definitely see yourself straying away from those and exploring other characters. Mm-hmm. Mostly because they were written so well in one game that you don't need any more of them.
Yeah, that's something that The Last of Us did really well. The story, when it focused on Joel and Ellie, which is the entire game, it made something it made something great. It made something it was a very masterful work of storytelling, and not to say that they splitting characters splitting characters might not be a bad idea, but like I said, they have to do it very carefully and they have to do it correctly.
Yeah.
I can attest to Bungie, actually, because they actually did it really well in Halo 2, where with the Arbiter.
What about that?
The Arbiter story is incredibly interesting.
I think a little more interesting than the Master Chiefs.
Chiefs. The Arbiter is with Chief. Arbiter is the titular badass and one of the most interesting characters. Yeah. And the way that they did his story, where they did split Chief and Arbiter's story, but it was still long enough, and during the campaign they get together. Like you then like if you're playing co-op, you play with Arbiter and Chief,
which is super cool.
Which is it's pretty
actually I remember the last mission where you're fighting the brute captain. You're not playing as, I think you're playing as Arbiter in the last one, and then Chief shows up. I don't remember. That's actually a perfect example because there were, the first mission of Halo, the first two missions you are Chief, and then there's like this like cliffhanger moment, and then you become the heretic. Arbiter becomes the Arbiter. Yeah. I forgot how great that was. It transitioned extremely well. A lot of people don't give Halo 2 enough credit for being a good single player game because the phenomenon was the multiplayer. But yeah, that's good. And I think that I like the idea of multiple characters, but I think that maybe they should probably just do it along the lines of what they did with The Last of Us, because spoilers, at some point you play as Ellie for a while, so and it just that transitions so well.
What if instead of being an adventuring group, it's you as in a group of people trying to make a settlement? Because I mean, even in The Last of Us, you run into a couple of settlements, and you know that some are thriving and some are just not going to shit.
That would also be
what if it's
an interesting part of the world, like the settlers, like the people who are fighting off these nasty fungal creatures and trying to reestablish society, essentially. Like that's also like a really great.
I mean, that could also be brought back to the government section where you're trying to make a safe haven, but they're just people that just don't agree with you.
Yeah,
I feel like it's interesting.
Yeah, I think a good way to bring in multiple characters into the game. Let's just say that the Last of Us 2 continues with Ellie and Joel in different stages in their lives. I think a good way to introduce, and maybe a lot of people won't like this because a lot of people don't like DLC or expansions, right, for single-player games. But I think that a good way to introduce, I like the idea of short stories within the same universe. Bring out, $5 story DLC where you literally play different characters over the span of, I think this is something that I think a season pass would do very well with. $20 season pass, you have 5 different stories that last between 1 to 3 hours within that universe with a totally different character. I think that's a good way to introduce multiple characters without breaking the mold of one story.
Technically, the Last of Us did something like that with its DLC.
Yeah, Left Behind.
Left Behind.
Which, I mean, nobody complained about that.
No, it was good. And it was cheap.
They could feasibly do it like that also.
Just more of that, because I felt I liked the Left Behind a lot. It was more narrative than it was gameplay, which is fine with me personally. But I just like the way they delivered that story. Also, it was kind of it was a bit of a prequel, a bit of a setup, so you got to know Ellie a little more in her situation, because she talks about her friend Riley briefly, and throughout the entire game you wonder who Riley is. And they had Riley in the comics, because there's 4 comic books. I think it's called The American Dream, that came out while the game was out. But you wanted to explore that character more, so I think that was a good way to do it. I guess in terms of story, I like the idea of. I also like the idea of maybe a bit of a prequel, because Joel, he used to be a bandit, used to be a smuggler. It'd be interesting to see him in his younger years with Tess, running people, running drugs and stuff or whatever they did, rations. It'd be interesting to see that. Bandit activities. Which, again, the game is, a lot of people see Joel as a hero, but realistically, he's not.
He was just a dude.
He's the opposite. He's a terrible person. So let's explore that further.
Well, I mean, even his brother says, I still have nightmares from the things you've done. And he's I did it because we had to live.
It'd be interesting to play as his brother Tommy too. There's just the very few characters that you know by name in the story are interesting because they're written well.
Yeah.
I do prefer the Firefly angle though.
The Firefly angle.
Interesting stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But the Firefly angle and how it's brought down by a single man.
Yeah, basically.
That's the thought of a prequel of that takes place sort of like within the first game, because like technically like that you never see that part of Joel where he's the smuggler and stuff. They just talk about it, but technically that's inside of the first game. Like it's not even right. It is sort of a prequel because it takes place like before the main story, but it takes place after the beginning of the game.
Exactly.
So
it's like 20 years.
Yeah. And that is another like very interesting and like
Joel rubbing around his younger brother.
Yeah, him and Tommy would be interesting.
Yeah, and it like
Tess, how they met Tess.
Yeah,
that's never actually explained, is it?
No,
it's 20 years, and you can actually explore like how Joel comes to grip with the death of his daughter.
Ooh,
like
that would be also. I know Donnie Dog can do it, but that would be very difficult to do.
There's an entire world of possibility with The Last of Us. Like, I don't think anybody really is complaining about there being a sequel.
Not necessarily, but I think a lot of people are not like skeptical. But a lot of people, like you and I, say, leave it alone, do something different. Yeah. But it's not something that's voiced with hostility.
Right.
Until there is a single player trailer where we can,
actually dissect it and have an opinion.
What are they planning to do? That might be.
It's hard to tell. This is the kind of thing where it all relies on a trailer.
Yeah, I mean, even if I remember correctly, there was I forgot what it was that they were asking. It was a voice actor. What was like the latest work he had done, and he said something about The Last of Us 2. But do you remember what voice actor it was?
No, I remember this news.
I think it was the voice of Joel.
Was it? That's
Troy Baker.
Troy Baker. Was it Troy?
And I think he said something about it too. So
I think it might have been.
Like there is a chance that it's
also like his recent work has mostly been with Naughty Dog.
Going to involve.
But then again, Troy Baker isn't literally fucking it.
They could even have him just be someone else's voice if they wanted.
Yeah, like they did that with Nolan North. So Nolan North plays Nathan Drake in Uncharted, and he was, I keep forgetting the name of the character, the villain in the one villain that's not even in the whole game in The Last of Us. I keep it's not Sam. Ben? I don't remember his name. He's the one who Ellie encounters, the one that like traps her and stuff.
Oh, in the little town,
the
camp of cannibals.
Yeah, there you go, something like that.
Let's just call it cannibals.
Also, they never really explained that; it was just insinuated that they were. But
it is, yeah,
really interesting. Actually, it's very dark, but that is voiced by Nolan North, and I had no idea going into the game that he was in the game. So Troy Baker you can just hear that Troy Baker's on The Last of Us, but you can just also assume that he's playing a totally different character too, because
that's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, like Todd
okay, that's real quick. It's a bit stretched, but it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, Todd and I are probably always going to be of the mind that The Last of Us should exist in a bubble, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people who agree with us. That being said, like neither of us can complain if they do go the route where it's just a direct sequel and it's just Joel and Ellie.
Yeah.
It would be way more interesting if they did something different. But I mean, if you want to flesh out those characters even more,
I don't think they need to be.
They don't really.
I love the ambiguous ending.
Yeah,
that's what really makes it for me.
See, and what would be great if they like skip an entire like generation where The Last of Us 2 is from our different characters.
What if it's Joel accidentally spills the beans to Ellie that
you see that
she wasn't like just a girl, that there were more kids, that in reality she's still only the only person with the immunity, and so she decides to take it on herself to just leave the village.
Sure, I think that's something that we talked about a little earlier. The idea of Ellie being a lot older, the idea of like their village, Tommy's town being attacked. And then, like, what the fuck, Joel? Like, I thought you said the Fireflies didn't need me, and then she figures it out. I think that would be a very dramatic way to bring that together instead of him telling her, because I have a feeling, knowing his character, that he wouldn't just tell her. Yeah. It would be it would be the worst way that she would find out.
Or it would be God, and I super love theory crafting story.
Me too.
It's one of my favorite things.
Especially for stuff I really know well.
Yeah.
So.
Wouldn't it be great if that's something that Ellie finds out at the end of Joel's life?
Oh, like Joel on his deathbed?
On his deathbed. Yeah. And then that's when you go, like, this is older Ellie, and she's like, I need to find a sign. Like, I need to give myself to humanity to save it, and that's her journey.
So just to sacrifice yourself?
Yeah.
Man, that's deep. I like that a lot. They could do it too.
Hire me, Naughty Dog. I got millions of ideas.
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
Marcus goes to Naughty Dog.
And then gets rejected at the door.
Kid, who the fuck are you?
Marcus?
Did you guys see
No.
Did you guys see this video? Maybe not, that I posted, I think yesterday or the day before. It's a little teaser for like a longer video coming out on Monday. That it's Nolan North and Troy Baker, and they're staring at some castle somewhere, some like large fortress, and so Nolan North, you know, his voice he doesn't change his voice for Drake. He's like, okay, so you jump up there, and then you shimmy, and then he's like, and then Troy Baker's like, this is real life. You're not actually Nathan Drake, and he's like, you shut your mouth. You shut your mouth or I'll kill you.
I am Nathan Drake.
It's a great video.
I have not seen that.
When we stop, I'll show it to you. It's fucking good.
Yeah, I want to watch that. That sounds hilarious.
It's hilarious. It looks also that video shows me I want to see them in. I love that they are. I love that
as a comic duo.
So, that too. I love them in the. I love that they're part of the video game industry. I love that they are primarily in the industry. They belong to us in a sense. But it'd be cool to see them do some kind of like YouTube skit or something. Like that is a YouTube skit technically. But I'd love to see them do more stuff like that.
That would be fun.
They're talented. They're very talented actors. So I think a lot of people don't actually give them enough credit, even though a lot of people think that they're very overrated. They're not. They're very good at what they do, and I don't think I've actually been tired. Anytime I see Nolan North or Troy Baker, cast to somebody, or like I find out after I play games, like that makes sense. I don't complain. I'm just like, that makes sense.
There's a reason why they're well paid in the industry.
Yeah.
That's because they're really good at what they do.
Yeah.
They're very, very good voice actors, and they're great. More Troy Baker and Nolan North is not.
It's not a bad thing.
Not a bad.
I think it's also awesome how when they revealed the cast for Uncharted, that when I saw Troy Baker and then Laura Bailey, who she actually does stuff with Critical Role. She was previously the voice of Fetch in Infamous. How she's playing one of the characters, and then the fact that there was Nolan North and Troy Baker, two people who had previously worked on Naughty Dog. So I was like, that just makes total sense, and that's so cool that they're actually brothers and stuff in the game. It's interesting though because Nate is a younger character than his brother Sam, and it's the opposite in terms of actors. But yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. You should watch. I'll show you that. We'll watch that video afterwards. But I would hope. Okay, I guess we could maybe just kind of put a cap on this topic. Do you think we'll see anything at all, even just an announcement at E3 this year?
Okay.
I'm gonna honestly say no.
It's been 3 years.
3 years. Okay.
It's going to be. It came out in 2013 summer.
Then the possibility is high, and there's a good possibility, and it only gets higher as the
time goes,
because we already know that there's going to be a Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
Like that's for certain.
It hasn't been confirmed, but it just seems like it's going to happen.
And there's been rumors circulating
for a while.
Yeah. If they don't do it this E3,
it'll be the next.
It'll be the next, I imagine, because it's new. It's almost an inevitability.
It is. I hope though that Sony and Sony has been smart about how they handle most of their first party franchise. They don't necessarily run them into the ground, at least like they used to. But think about it. Uncharted, it's only 4 games. God of War is technically only 3. Stuff like that. Resistance is 3.
We still need that Uncharted kart racer,
right? Totally. And jump from cart to cart.
So, yeah.
I think that I would hope that they understand that this is not. I don't want to see this every so often. I want to see this like once in a blue moon, you know. But I think that if they know what's good for them, considering that their console has sold ridiculously well without, and I'm not necessarily discounting the games that are on it right now. There's some great games. Bloodborne is like a titular game for them. That they need first party stuff right now. And Uncharted is coming out this year, next week. That's awesome. They need more stuff. I think that if they want to continue this fucking train, this unstoppable train of success,
big hit train.
Last of Us 2, boom, bring that out 2018. Or it'd be crazy if they said next year. That would be crazy. But the thing is, I think something that a lot of people don't understand is that Uncharted, Last of Us, was being developed nearly side by side with Uncharted 3 because they do have two teams. And then they converge after one project is done. So I think it's very plausible that they can come out and a teaser, maybe just a title, and have Neil Druckmann come out and say, hey, Last of Us 2 is coming next year. We'll have more information at next E3 or whatever. I think that's totally plausible.
Yeah, I actually think it's likely, especially since, you know, Uncharted and The Thief's End is done.
This basically, I mean, yeah, it's done.
I'm almost looking forward to
Me too.
This E3
Absolutely
is going to have news about The Last of Us 2. So, you know, and E3 is just right around the corner. So.
Literally a month away.
Yeah.
About 4 weeks. What about you, Benny? You think the show this year?
I'm gonna say no.
Okay, interesting.
I think. I mean, there have been that specific, I guess, name drop of the game, you know, Last of Us 2, but there hasn't been anything more in a good while, I'm going to say. Has there?
But there hasn't been any recent rumors that have surfaced now.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it might still be under wraps for at least another year.
Which wouldn't surprise me either, because Sony, I mean, just look at stuff like Glass Guardian. Granted, that's a different kind of monster of its own. But yeah, that wouldn't surprise me also. You know, they want Sony, I think, is more attuned with the idea of letting their studios breathe and actually develop stuff. Not saying that other publishers don't, but most other publishers like the idea of a really tight, really scheduled. Uncharted 4 was delayed multiple times this year, you know. Granted, not huge delays, right? Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it was originally supposed to come out in February.
And if you're Keiji Inafune, then your game has been delayed for like 80 months now. You know,
80 months. When did that? Well, we'll talk about it in a little bit. But yeah, I think that they will let their studio breathe. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, because it's presumed that there will be a God of War 3 this year. Because there hasn't been one since Ascension. Ascension didn't do particularly well.
Yeah.
I didn't even play it.
Yeah, I've never really cared much for God of War, but yeah. So I think it's possible this year. Earliest, release 2017. More plausible release 2018. Especially if they're doing a crazy story, like maybe one of our theories is actually right, and that takes time.
Yeah.
That does take time. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Last of Us 2.
Real fun thing to talk about.
It is. It's awesome.
I absolutely love theory crafting story.
Yeah.
Because I do it with my brother all the time with World of Warcraft, and I don't know. I sort of do it with Ben with Dark Souls, but not to like the extent where
not this much.
Like
literally, like earlier today, I guess you could say we meted a wee bit, but it was like
speculating on.
It's fun though.
It is really fun.
Yeah. Cool. E3.
Right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
Ben's gonna have to take a week off.
Well, you probably won't even have to, because a lot of publishers won't even have conferences this year. So that's the thing. Nintendo won't have a conference this year. They won't even have a direct.
No,
they're not even gonna have a direct?
No, they're not.
The Zelda one.
Well, they're gonna have a Zelda live stream, but it's not technically being called a direct, is it?
No, they said it's gonna be a direct. They said that it's going to focus on The Legend of Zelda, which
it's probably all they're gonna talk about.
Is it gonna be the year of Link?
I don't know. But if it is, it's not going to be until next year.
A year of Link where just all Zelda-related games would come out would probably never exist, because they could never stick to a fucking plan with that game.
Yeah.
I understand. Games take time. But even for Nintendo, it's like, stick to a schedule.
Little wish-wash.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Well, with that, we should probably get into the news.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
This concludes.
We totally and completely skipped over.
This concludes part 2 of our podcast. Now heading into part 1.
Heading into part 1. I'm gonna edit it that way. So that's how we end the podcast. Yeah. All right, guys. Yeah. So this week is not particularly long, so we'll probably get through this relatively quickly. Mostly because I don't have a lot to say about the first-person shooters.
Could this be the fabled 1 hour and 30-minute podcast?
We could. Let's do it. Let's gun for that. Let's try.
You want a gun for the 1 hour and 30 minutes?
Sure. I have the only thing I will say is that
this is the fabled. This isn't the legendary 1 hour podcast. This is the fabled 1 hour and 30 minute podcast.
I have a rant with Infinity Ward, with Activision just a bit. But let's get started with the first thing.
Start the thing off. Let's see what's going on.
Speaking of games that will probably never fucking come out.
Oh, my big rig, it's been stolen.
Alright, so after almost endless delays and a gradual drain of fan hope and excitement, including my own, Mega Man successor, Mighty No. 9, is actually coming out this time on June 21st, according to Kenji Inafune. But it seems that not all the versions of the game are going to come out on the same day, which really doesn't surprise me. It made me chuckle when I saw this news. Kenji Inafune also said that he's basically delaying the 3DS and Vita versions, which will follow at a later point.
At some time later, pretty much.
Yeah. And of course, he goes on, I won't necessarily quote him, but he goes on to apologize, as he always does.
We're sorry, but we're also starting this new project.
He has 3 projects going on right now. He has that. He has the, Mega Man Legends successor also, which I think has a failed Kickstarter, if I'm not mistaken, but I think he's still going... It might have went on to an Indiegogo, I'm not too sure. And he also has Recore.
Something. Wasn't there?
I think it's called Red something. Yeah, that's the one.
Recore is Inafune?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's an Xbox One, presumably an Xbox One exclusive title. So he's working on 3 fucking games. Yeah, we saw it was at the E3 conference last. I'm sorry, the E3 Xbox conference last year. 3 projects. Maybe slow down a little bit. I love the man. I like Mega Man. Maybe not as much as stuff like Castlevania, but it's still a great game. Also, what the fuck with that Vita version? That game is made for Vita. Bring it to me on Vita the same fucking day.
Nose to the grindstone.
Yeah. This news doesn't surprise me, but let's see if they can actually stick to that release date.
Yeah, they've been pushing it back for...
3 years now. Maybe 2? Maybe 3? Don't remember.
I think it was supposed to come out 2 years ago.
Jesus.
So it's I don't know, the hype for that game is
dwindled.
They're gonna have to find a chosen undead to sacrifice them into the fire to bring about maybe a new age of Mighty No. 9.
Maybe Nintendo will hire him and say, "Hey, we like delay games. Come over here."
Just put it on the NX. It'll be fine.
2020. It's a great date. Let's go with that.
Just push it back more, bro.
I like how the spirit of Nintendo calls everyone bro. Inafune, bro, come on. Let's just move it back.
I can imagine Miyamoto calling somebody bro. I think if he called me bro, I'd probably be complete with life. Alright, next piece of information. If any of you people out there are Stardew Valley fans, which I am, and I haven't played it yet, Stardew Valley will be receiving several major updates in the next couple months. Yeah. Developer Eric Barone announced in a progress report on the website for the game. So these updates include a content update comprising version 1.1 of the Windows PC game, as well as a multiplayer mode, which is interesting to me. Did Harvest Moon ever have multiplayer modes?
No, it was all single.
Okay,
I think it was just single, right?
Yeah. New language options and ports to other consoles, which is probably the biggest thing. I haven't played it on PC just because I haven't played it on PC. But if it came to PS4, I'd probably play it there instead. Also planned is merchandise based on the game. I'm down for a shirt or a coffee mug. Give it to me, because Stardew Valley is awesome. Have you guys played it?
I don't think I have.
Has Danny played it?
Danny has.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
It seems like something that Danny would play.
Yeah. No, Danny really likes Stardew Valley.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love the soundtrack, which is also made by the developer. This is legitimately one of those games where it's made. Everything is done by one person, which is incredible.
Yeah, it's a good game too.
Yeah, it's awesome. I dig everything I've seen of it so far. Okay, next piece of information, not necessarily relevant to everyone here, but it is a big part of the news this week, and I have a lot of shit to say about this. Not particularly about the game in question, but the remaster that comes with it. All right.
Oh, he dropped it. Oh no.
Okay, so to no one's surprise, it had already been leaked multiple times in the past couple weeks. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Infinite Warfare. That's a terrible fucking name.
So,
what's up?
It's just I have a cousin who is two cousins specifically that play together, and they are Warfare fans, you could say.
Okay.
And they saw this trailer and they went, "That's too much, man."
Really?
Infinite? That's too much. Well, specifically, this is Juan that was saying, "That's bullshit." And then my other cousin was like, "Nah, fuck it, we're still gonna buy it, right?" And my other cousin goes, he turns to him and just stares and goes, "That's bullshit." And then he did say that remaster though.
Yeah,
that remaster looks nice.
And this is the thing, right? But let's get into it. But that's interesting though to hear that from a lot of Call of Duty fans who love Call of Duty, right? So so Infinite Warfare was announced this past week, and this is Infinity Ward. Okay, Infinite Warfare, Infinity Ward, IW. Infinity Ward's next installment of the now annual franchise, and it looks like it's going to space. So let's. Okay, first of all,
I saw a super funny thing on Imager.
About? Oh, what is it?
Like, there's space combat in Infinite Warfare.
Yeah.
But there's not space combat in Battlefront's, the Star Wars Battlefield game.
Ooh, whoa! I didn't think about that.
Like that's just.
It's all because Battlefront is all planetary, right?
Yeah. Everything like you can get in ships and there's vehicles.
But it's in the atmosphere.
It's in the atmosphere. It's Star Wars. There's no space combat. Meanwhile, I guess Infinity Ward decided to capitalize on this and take all of the space combat.
Yeah. All right. Before I get into it, let's just finish this off. So the release date is November 4th, which makes sense. Most of the games released in November. What's also confirmed is a remaster for what is arguably the best game in the series, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare 1. In this case, it's simply called Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. They dropped the 4, which probably makes some sense. All right. So far, did you guys watch the trailer?
Yeah, actually yesterday when I was showing it.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so what did you think?
I mean, it seems like the high octane thing that I'd consider playing it. I can't guarantee that I'd be hooked on it.
Okay,
I'd give it a good whirl taste, and then go. Okay, I'm gonna go back to Monster Hunter.
Okay, that makes sense. Capella?
I'm not the first person shooter type of guy.
I understand that.
I always play a first person shooter.
Yeah.
No, I mean it looked graphically impressive, but
yes. No, I think it does. It's okay. They finally changed their shit up with Advanced Warfare, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah.
But I fell off of the series a very long time.
5 years ago for me.
Yeah,
it's been about 5 years ago for me.
I could not give a single crap to give.
I understand that. I think that if anyone's listening to this, understand that we all come from different facets within gaming. I like first-person shooters. Maybe you guys don't necessarily like them too much. You're okay with them, yeah. But
I have no quarrel.
Yeah, I understand that. You have no affinity for them. Okay, I'm going to move on before I piss somebody off. Look, the game I saw, watching the trailer. What's up?
Hold up.
What's up? Oh, what's this? Okay,
that's some monster on the speaker.
That's some bullshit.
That's some monster on the speaker you're trying to come out with. So.
Sorry. Just for the context of people not watching the video version, that doesn't happen.
This is my Pokemon.
There's a knife.
This is my Pokemon knife.
Oh, your Pikachu.
His Poke Youth knife. Yeah, his Poke Youth. Like Ben brought out his Poke Youth knife.
That should be the episode name.
That's a nice little
Marcos and the Poke Youth knife.
Marcos and the Legend of the Poke Youth.
That's a good one too.
A bunch of Nazis fighting each other.
I'm still with Marcos fucks Jimmy.
That one's very
colorful.
Okay, well, I didn't like the Infinite Warfare. Like, I can give a shit about. I did like Modern Warfare. Like, I was in that group of people that really liked Modern Warfare. So I was really happy about that until.
Sure. Well, let me just share you real quick with
what
I thought of it. Yeah. Well, it's a low blow, man.
The other. Just cheap punch.
It's a cheap punch.
Sucker punch, if you will.
But real quick, I will say that the trailer didn't necessarily impress me. For me, it's just like, yeah, that's Call of Duty. And that's how it is for a lot of games. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bad. It just means that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? I think that one thing that a lot of people, interestingly enough, we talk about how these games need to innovate. Maybe this is their version of innovation. A lot of people aren't very happy with it. It's like, well, yeah, okay, look. Give it a chance. Yeah. But
I will say it's something different.
It's something
They're
different.
trying something
but I think
different.
a lot of people didn't necessarily expect that to be a thing. A lot of people think of Call of Duty as boots on the ground kind of thing. And it looks like they're just taking that in the zero G kind of space. But I think that a lot of people's complaint isn't that it's changing. A lot of people's complaint is that we've seen like another space shooter. Like there's so many of them, right? I get that. But yeah, moving on. Didn't necessarily impress me. I probably won't be playing it, especially with the next bit. So, in official question and answer section for Modern Warfare Remastered, Activision confirmed that the game will only be made available through the purchase of the aforementioned Legacy Edition. The first question in the Q&A that leads to this clarification simply reads, how can I get Call of Duty Warfare Remastered? Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. The answer to this is sure to upset those hoping to simply access the game separately. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered is only available through the Legacy, Legacy Pro, and Digital Deluxe editions of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
Not cool.
Fuck you!
I believe Todd needs my knife right now.
Yeah, I do. It's like you hear the blade brushing up against the mic. Activision.
He's gonna go straight to Activision Studios and just start like
Bobby caught it, you motherfucker.
Oh goodness.
Okay, look. You guys go ahead.
The one thing that would make this even more like just uncool is if they had said that this special edition was a limited supply.
And the thing is, most Call of Duty special editions are not necessarily like that, but I
could imagine that they sell so much that they don't have them at the moment. I'm sorry, we're out.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, that it also has a digital deluxe, which comes with the game. But
okay.
I want to point out how much more do I have to pay for Call of Duty 4 Remastered? How much more? How much do you think?
So the lowest costing edition is $80.
$80. The lowest costing edition is $80. I am paying a full $20 more for a game that I will not even touch. Like, I don't care. I could not give a shit.
That's fine.
That you know what? It's so I gotta give a shit about like their infinite war across planets and fuck whatever. Like Jesus Christ,
fuck whatever.
Fuck whatever. Look, I would like to play the remastered. I don't want to pay $80 for it.
Nope.
Why? Like, I don't care about your other game.
Yeah.
Just give me the other. Give me the game that I want, man.
I feel your pain. So I'm going to maybe put this into a little more perspective, which is still shitty, but I'm going to put it in perspective. That's Warfare. You see all these games on the fucking same. Jesus. I had this mistake when I did my vlog. I recorded that piece 5 times because I said the wrong name of the game 5 or 6 times. Anyways, Infinite Warfare, Advanced Warfare, Modern Warfare, whatever. Space Warfare. Modern Warfare.
Googleplex Warfare.
Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare 1 is, I would say, and is arguably the best in the series. That is the peak of Infinity Ward as a developer that shot Call of Duty to more or less to moderate success to a phenomenal level success. Call of Duty 4 was the console multiplayer game that refueled the engine after Halo 2. Because Halo 3 that was still definitely there, right? But Call of Duty 4 was on another level. No offense to Halo 3. I love Halo 3. Okay. And the thing is, the way I see it is that they would probably be afraid of selling it separately and maybe embarrassing themselves by watching their arguably best Call of Duty cannibalize the sales of Infinite Warfare, especially after a time where people are not necessarily, Call of Duty fans in particular, are not necessarily trusting of Infinity Ward after Ghosts, which is a terrible game. That game is not good by any stretch of the goddamn imagination. Also, Infinity Ward, while a celebrated studio, is no longer Infinity Ward. Those people now work at Respawn, making two awesome games, one which we'll talk about in a bit. Making Titanfall, okay? This is not the same Infinity Ward.
Right.
Okay, and this is their first game in 3 years. I can't judge the game's mechanics and everything based on the trailer. I can just judge the trailer as a first impression. But I think it makes sense that they would do this kind of thing just based on that. Because imagine if that happened. Imagine if a remaster of a game outsold their newest game. That would be so telling of their business structure and how that franchise has come along and probably run itself into the ground. It's a real low blow, man. It's a real low blow, and the thing is, realistically, a lot of people that are getting mad about this, I guarantee you, a good percentage of them will still buy the game.
Yeah.
And therefore, there will be some people that will buy the game just to play Modern Warfare.
Oh, I already have people who are confirming your theory.
Yeah, absolutely, and unfortunately that makes complete sense. So this is the way they're gunning for you to buy their new game. They're
and you know what? I bet it's
holding Modern Warfare hostage.
It's gonna be, look at how good our newest game is
bullshit.
Doing.
It's not.
If you look probably at the return, I wouldn't doubt it if the day of release there's gonna be like 7 returns per store.
Wouldn't doubt it either. And this is the kind of thing, I always talk about supporting devs, right? It's important. Don't pirate games, all this stuff. But this is the thing. If they do not release this fucking game separately,
they're not
soon.
They're not
this is the thing, I know. But maybe they'll actually pay attention to all the fan outcry. But if they don't release this game separately, I guarantee you there will be somebody out there, there'll be a ton of people out there that will, if it's assuming it's a code, now that's assuming it's a code and assuming it's not part of the disc. Because that is so fucking low if it's part of the disc.
Ooh,
fucking low.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, that's something Activision would totally do.
That guarantees that you'd have to keep the game because
exactly.
They
want to fight.
That specifically Mikey was telling me is, I buy the game, get the code, and return the game because I want the code.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? If it was part of the game,
that's a burden.
You're stuck with it.
Also, that's kind of really fucking. Also, that's a really devious way to fight secondhand gaming.
Even. You want this really good game,
and I'm cussing a lot today compared to most other episodes. Yeah, you're right. But if they had it part of the disc, it would prevent people from trading it in, at least for a significant
until they get fed up with it.
Until they get fed up with it. I think that I would be the person that would, people I'm pretty sure would sell their codes, assuming they're codes, on eBay or whatever. I would be one of those people that would buy it because you're giving me no fucking other choice.
Yeah.
Naturally, despite the fact that they make millions and they're one of the most successful, companies, I still want to support them. But you know what? You want me to give you $30 separately? That's fine. I'll give it to the person who sells me the code and let them make a profit on it. Sell it separately. Please sell it separately. That is one of my favorite first-person shooters of all time. Sell it separately.
So
sell it separately.
Even if the idea that they would even the idea that this remaster would cannibalize their own, the sales of their new game. Even if that is a valid argument, I will solve this problem for Activision right now.
Okay.
I have planted a bomb.
He has not planted a bomb.
Be's a super shitty, sneaky company like you are, and say that there was a delay in the remaster. Sell it 2 months later.
Sure.
Problem solved.
Yeah.
Sell it separately 2 months later.
I think a lot of the speculation is that they would realistically wait, like you said, wait a couple months until they get the most out of the sales for Infinite Warfare, and then release it.
Like, why would it, I don't like they could definitely just have solved this problem if they said, well, it's going to come out a couple months after.
Yeah. The thing about this, which is interesting, the way they describe the remaster, at least the multiplayer component, because it is going to have a multiplayer component. They don't say, featured multiplayer, right? From Call of Duty 4. They just say 10 maps that are going to be available. They don't necessarily talk about the multiplayer. They just say 10 maps available. And this is the thing that concerns me, because if it is on disc, what if it's not just that? What if it's the kind of thing where, kind of like with Halo Anniversary Edition, where the multiplayer was basically Reach multiplayer, and it took you to the Reach menu? What if this is just saying the single player is remastered, but the 10 maps are only playable in Infinite Warfare? You can go right over there and fuck yourself. Okay.
Yeah, that would suck extra.
Yeah, because I didn't like that about I liked Halo Reach enough, but I didn't like the fact, I really thought that the multiplayer in Halo 1 was like, Anniversary was legit, that multiplayer separate from Halo Reach, but it basically put you into that menu. You're playing on the same servers with the same physics and the same rules. I didn't like that. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that. Until they release it separately. But if they don't release it separately, I'm going to say this one more time, I will buy it from the Scalper online. I have no problem doing that.
Yeah. Threats have been made. Bombs have been planted.
No bombs have been planted, please.
We don't need to be under the watch of any sort of government. There's no bombs.
All right. Any
Marcus plants bombs.
But Todd might go into Activision Studios and start waving around a knife.
Your knife, so it's his weapon. Any last thoughts on that?
It's shitty.
Okay,
and that's my last thought on it.
Okay.
It's stupid and shitty.
Sneaky, conniving.
All right. Yeah, it's.
Down.
I hope they change their mind. It would just be such a good.
Do you really think they're gonna change their mind though?
With enough outcry, I think to some extent they care about their customer base. I think to some extent they do. Also, they could make a lot more money if they sold it separately, because there are people that will definitively not buy the game. Yeah. Why not offer this separately so you can get more money? That's what they want ultimately. Mm-hmm. Okay, Activision. I know people say, yeah, they're game developers. I know it's not. This is not the game developers. I'm not punishing the game developers. I'm punishing Activision as a publisher, a greedy fucking publisher. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next piece of news. I thought that some people here would maybe like this. So Sega and Relic Entertainment have announced Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War 3, 7 years after the second installment in the much-loved real-time strategy series. You like Warfare. Warfare. God damn it, fucking Warfare again. Warfare. You like Warhammer.
I love Warhammer.
Did you play any of the Dawn of War games?
Call of Duty Warhammer.
No, but they look super cool.
Yeah.
And I'm really tempted to play this one because the trailer
looked great. It looked fucking great. I played the original Dawn of War very briefly, and I did like it. So, according to Sega's press release, the new game, quote, combines the epic scale of Dawn of War and with the customization and elite heroes of Dawn of War 2, end quote. Meaning the second game's more squad-focused approach has been scaled back somewhat, and it will arrive on PC in 2017. Also, the game features super walking units described by executive producer Stephen McDonald as our biggest units ever. Yeah, that could signal the inclusion of models from Epic, the Warhammer 40k spin-off tabletop game, which features gigantic units alongside super miniature armies. The game looks cool. Yeah. I like real-time strategy games. I haven't played one in a long time, so yeah, looks cool.
It does. It looks really great.
Looks legit cool.
And, I mean, the epic scale units that are in Warhammer are fantastic.
Yeah.
They're super great. The other day I was looking into a Tyranid, which is in the 40k universe. The Tyranids are like this bug species that takes the genes of the species that they conquer and integrates them into their own genome.
Okay.
So they're constantly evolving to be the best killers that they possibly could be.
Cool.
I saw this one of a Tyranid behemoth. The thing is the size of your mic stand.
Okay.
Right? And it just...
Jeez, that's huge.
It's big. And this is that's there's supposed to be actual scale to the models in the tabletop. So your guy will be maybe this big.
Jesus.
And that's the behemoth.
Yeah.
Like it's great, and they're crazy too because this particular behemoth, it was the way it goes in the story is it was taken by a group of basically dark elves, space dark elves.
Space dark elves.
And,
space dark elves.
They put they implanted it with technology. So that they could control it.
Yeah.
And like this thing is just like covered with like tech, and it's got like saw blades coming out of it, and it's
That's
just like
cool.
big creepy. The big units in Warhammer are amazing. Like
That's cool.
The human titans are just awesome. Like
I should really pay more attention to Warhammer.
Oh, Warhammer's great. We went to Brownsville today.
Okay.
We went to a hobby store, but we stopped by this little comic book store that was new called Rogue Comics, and under their display, I saw that they had a complete set of the Horus Heresy books, which it chronicles the rise of the God Emperor of Mankind, who's like the titular person. He's the space messiah, basically. Okay. And it talks about how he created his sons, who are also space messiahs, how one of them became corrupted by demons and turned on his father and then destroyed humanity.
Wow.
And the Horus Heresy is one of the...
Sounds epic.
Yeah, it's one of the most awesome things in Warhammer. And they had it was a really, really nice book set because it came in its own case. It had like a Velcro thing.
And wow. Yeah, okay.
It was super good.
And
it was like $120 for like 12, 13 books.
Wow.
And it looked really cool.
Cool.
Like if I had the money, I would have dropped it right there.
Cool, yeah.
The Warhammer universe is great.
It's very extensive.
It's really cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm still yet to play Vermintide, and I need to play that too. Really want to play Vermintide. I think looking at it, and especially news I didn't add about the new graphics card that just came from NVIDIA. This is the kind of game where, like a couple other games, I'd like to upgrade my PC to play this because it looks like it will be very demanding, especially for a real-time strategy game.
There's the new, very affordable GTX
1080.
Yeah, the 1080.
Yeah, maybe we'll discuss that next week because I didn't add any information about that. Yeah, a little tech talk.
That came out yesterday.
Literally came out yesterday. Yeah. Didn't expect that. I saw that one channel that makes really awesome videos with that awesome camera did a really good rundown about it. So, cool. Moving on. So just real quick, Dishonored 2, we already knew that was coming sometime, but it has an official release date of November 11th. And it's actually kind of reminiscent of the Skyrim release date, which is also November 11th. At that time, it was 11/11/11. Very memorable date. Looking forward to it. It's kind of coincidental that I'm playing, like as I said at the beginning, the Dishonored Definitive Edition. Yeah. And so this next piece is long, but it's also related. I'm not gonna go through all of it. But they also released the cast list. So in Dishonored 1, they had some notable cast members. They had Michael Madsen playing the Assassin Dowd and stuff like that. Now they have how do you pronounce his name? I always butcher this guy's name. So they have Vincent D'Onofrio, who's recently, you know him as Wilson Fisk on Marvel's Daredevil. Also, I will make a note that he was also in the best Law and Order, which is called Criminal Intent. Awesome.
That was the best.
Bobby,
that's definitely the
best one.
Yeah.
Will voice Duke of Circonus, who plays a major role. Rosario Dawson, also Daredevil fame, will do voiceover as well. And they also have Pedro Pascal, who, if you know him, he is recently in Game of Thrones as the Viper. He's also in Narcos, the Netflix series, which is pretty good. But yeah, they have some pretty good voice acting talent. The first one had a lot of good ones too. Bethesda has the money to just fucking, do that kind of stuff. Most notably though, which is really interesting, is that this time around Corvo Attano will have a voice. So in the first game, he was a voiceless character. Now he has a voice because he's not the titular character. The titular character this time around is Emily Caldwin, the princess. Is going to be actually voiced by Stephen Russell, who it says here has acting credits as Nick Valentine in Fallout 4. But more importantly, he actually, in the span of the Thief lineage, the games, he has voiced Garrett, which I know a lot of people fell off of Thief and it has a very small following. It's a legendary game, and I think that Dishonored in a lot of ways is a homage to Thief. So that's really cool that they got him to play. Also, it kind of makes sense too because the gentleman's a bit older, and well, Corvo is supposed to be old man Corvo now. So yeah, that's cool. Okay, that's about it. Next piece, which kind of surprised me. So it did happen on May the 4th, which is widely known as Star Wars Day, right? It is.
Yeah, I had forgotten.
Yeah.
May the 4th.
Yeah, I forgot about that too. I always forget about that every year. So we saw an important announcement, and this is from Respawn, the real Infinity Ward. Okay, that's kind of mean. The better Infinity Ward is they developed. They're the people behind Titanfall, which is one of my favorite games. Is working on a new Star Wars game for EA. The studio announced
one with space combat, maybe.
Maybe
space combat.
Totally possible. So Stig Asmussen, the former director of God of War, who now works at Respawn, obviously, describes the unnamed Star Wars title as, quote, a third-person action-adventure game, end quote. That's all the information we have on it, nothing else. Really, it's actually, a lot of people would say it's not surprising. EA, Disney basically handed, the rights to Star Wars on a silver platter to EA. So it makes sense that most of their studios would be developing a Star Wars game at this point. I just didn't expect the team at Respawn to be doing 2 games, because the last I knew about Respawn is that they're a fairly small studio. Like in the AAA space, 50 to 100 people is considered fairly small. So if they've either grown or maybe split into 2 teams, you'd probably see this game faster than you think.
Yeah.
Third person shooter. I thought they would go with first person. It could be anything. It could be anything. Assuming you will automatically assume though that it will be a shooter. Obviously, I'm excited. If it means space combat that Battlefront couldn't deliver, I'm down. Yeah. I'm down. I want to be a fighter pilot, man. Come on, bring that on.
Yeah. Was that Rogue Squadron?
Rogue Squadron is so good. That was the only real reason for me to own a goddamn GameCube or want to own a GameCube. What a great game!
Super good. Yeah.
Please bring that back. But yeah, that's exciting. Makes me wonder, though, what's the release time? Does that mean that maybe they'll do... No, because look, we'll probably talk about that in a little bit with Battlefield. But that would be 3 shooters coming out from EA. Mm-hmm. What's the timeline with that? I don't know. I have a feeling I think that would probably make sense to come out this year with the release of Rogue One to some extent, because they I think EA they don't want to make games based entirely on the movie, but I think they would want their game to release alongside a major film. And it made sense because Battlefront is not a particularly good game. It would have sold excellent on its own, but definitely coming out after, right before Star Wars, definitely bumped its sales a huge bit. So we'll see what happens there. Moving on with some... Actually, I'll save this piece of news for the end because the next piece is still EA related. And I'm actually really excited about this. I don't know why. So EA and DICE made it official this past Friday, yesterday, that the next Battlefield game is called Battlefield 1. I'm going to say it real quick. Also a dumb name. Battlefield 1 is kind of a dumb name.
Yeah.
It is. And guess what? It's going back in time to World War I. DICE's new Battlefield will focus on World War I era battles that include horses, which looked really cool, tanks, motorcycles, down for that, and biplanes, which also looked awesome, as well as boots-on-the-ground infantry warfare. Battlefield 1 will feature era-appropriate weapons, including early 20th century guns, grenades, poison gases, which like gassing and stuff was a very big thing in World War I. Flamethrowers and a variety of melee weapons such as shovels and maces, which you do see. I forgot maces were a thing, but yeah, you do see in the trailer. DICE promises, as always, 64-player multiplayer battles and locations that range from the Alps to the deserts of Arabia, which is exciting.
Very interesting. Players
will experience global conflict through the eyes of several different characters, all united by the first modern war. And we do have a release date, which is October 21st of this year, about 2 weeks before Call of Duty.
It looks good.
I think it looks ridiculously good.
It does look
well. Granted, the trailer was claiming that was in-game.
Oh, that is in-game footage.
That is the game.
It is, because look, Frostbite makes their games look significantly better. Look at Battlefront. That's a DICE game. It looks gorgeous. Say what you will about the game, it looks gorgeous. I thought the trailer was awesome. I went into it very cynical. I will say I might sound a little biased because I'm more of a Battlefield fan than I'm a Call of Duty fan, right? I played Battlefield before I did Call of Duty. And most of those games called to me because they're almost grand strategy kind of first-person shooters. The game looks incredible. It looks like, man, this is DICE, I think, at their finest, in my opinion, from the looks of it. I love that they're going back to World War One. A lot of people were speculating, yeah, they should go back. Maybe it's time to go back now because we're going too far into the future. And I think I'm down with that. I think people are ready to go back into the World War One and 2 eras.
It's been a very long time since anybody has...
At least in the AAA space.
Unless you're Wolfenstein, but that's alternate universe.
That's super alternate universe. Yeah. It's not trying to be serious at all.
Yeah. I think that's a good move. I think it is about time that somebody went back to that era and did some more stories, because there's always more to explore, and it looks great. Yeah, like it looks really
it
nice.
Does. Yeah. So all of it was technically gameplay and it was in-engine, right? But the one piece of actual gameplay that you saw from your perspective was, I think you're going through this like kind of weird trench in a like jungly kind of area, and you have an LMG. You're running with the LMG, which is a little weird, right? If you're a history buff anyway, it doesn't make any sense that somebody would be running with a light machine gun, at least in that era. And then you see the gas pour in, and then I think you see the gas mask out. And I'm like, okay. Also, that image, that gameplay looked fucking smooth as hell. Yeah. It just looked incredible. It looks incredible. I'm gonna say incredible a million times because it looks incredible.
It looks infinite.
Infinitely incredible. I'm very impressed. I'm surprised that I'm that impressed. Mostly because the newer Battlefields they were okay. I played them, but I was not necessarily very happy with them. The last one that I really enjoyed myself with was Bad Company 2, which is an excellent game. I'm ready to go back to World War 1 and 2. I'm down for that. I think a lot of people think that World War II has been overdone. I think it has to some extent been overdone, but the thing is, there's still so much to tell about that era. I know this is World War One, but a lot of those games took place in the same area. They did Normandy, they did Market Garden. A lot of them didn't even take place in the Pacific. There's a couple of games, but there's not a lot of them that take place in the Pacific.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for this. This could be really good. Also, this shows that that trench warfare doesn't look all that boring. They made it, also it's a game. It's not going to be completely accurate.
Yeah.
But what I'm most curious about more than the multiplayer, because I know the multiplayer is going to be solid, is a single player. Because single player games in the Battlefield realm have not been good, except for Bad Company 1 and 2, because they were comedic. From what the rumors are it's going to be short, which makes sense. Right. Multiplayers are bread and butter. But I think that this is the time for them to really put some effort behind their single-player games. The single-player component. Because that's one thing that, obviously, we have some gripes against Call of Duty, but most of the time their single-player games are pretty fleshed out. To an extent of what you expect from a first-person single-player game. Yeah.
I've always complained about the story side of, because I really felt like in Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2, they were well done.
Very well done.
But it never felt like enough. Like I
really?
Always felt like it needed something
more.
Yeah.
But I get you.
So hopefully they do a good job. It's obviously going to be short because it feels like nobody except for Wolfenstein really wants to do story shooter.
That makes sense. Like that's Machine Games is good at that. DICE is exceptional multiplayer games, so it makes sense that they would concentrate on their strengths.
Yeah. So not surprising. I do hope they focus that, or I do hope they put a little more effort into the story side, the single player side, and especially because like the soldier stories from World War I are basically the backbone of history.
Yeah, they are. At least modern history.
Yeah.
I think that not having a single player campaign at all would be kind of a disservice to the era because there's, like I said, there's so much you can tell there. There's already so much that gaming hasn't told about World War II. So,
but J.R.R. Tolkien in there as a character.
As a character. I'm so ready for this, and you know what? This is actually there are very few trailers that I want to rewatch. And I rewatched that trailer like 10 times within that time span after they announced it. I thought it was so good. And this is weird. So I like the... Okay, so the only comparison, because I don't think you can fairly compare this and Infinite Warfare. They are rival games, right? In the first-person shooter space, but they're not the same in any way, really. The only thing I will compare between the two trailers is that the cover for the David Bowie song in Infinite Warfare was terrible. was not a good cover. The weird kind of...
Nation Army?
The Seven Nation Army remix was really good. I didn't expect it to be good because I thought Jack White and electronic dubby stuff doesn't make any sense. But I was like, yeah, it does. It totally doesn't. And I thought, man, this sounds good with this trailer. Looked it up. It was actually the Glitch Mob. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Glitch Mob. I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. They make good music. So I think that the song was a lot better than the trailer. Also, real quick about music in the game, I think this is one of the only shooters that, aside from like Halo, obviously, and stuff like that, that has a really recognizable theme. It's the dun 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 dun. That's their song. Yeah. It's like, I think this game would have been better. I think the trailer would probably be a lot better if they had just a really well orchestrated version of that song for the trailer, especially because it's World War One. Yeah. But I liked the trailer either way. I saw it like 10 times.
Also, triplanes.
Yeah, super down for that.
That blimp though.
Oh man, at the end, yeah.
That was against the Red Baron. They're gonna be so.
Dude, that's gonna be fucking awesome. Assuming, and this is the thing though. When I see this, I feel like, you know what? They had their B team working on Battlefront because Battlefront felt very bare bones. And it just felt like they had to... I know a lot of them were very passionate about it. I understand that. Getting Star Wars as something to work on is something that everyone kind of hopes for, right? At least in the creative industry. But I feel like realistically DICE cares more about their own IP. So I think that this was really what they were working on while they had their B team on Battlefront. Mm-hmm. And I think in a lot of ways it's obvious, like I said. Bare bones content. Very pretty, but very... not a lot to do. So if that's true, then I think that this will be their redemption, because a lot of people weren't very happy with 3, with 4, or with Hardline, which wasn't even made by them. Hardline was made by Visceral, which is weird.
I think Hardline tanked super hard.
I think it sold okay, actually. I think that the subject matter was bad timing, because it was about cops, and when a lot of that stuff was going on, and it's still going on, unfortunately. But yeah, looks cool. Looks awesome. Can't wait to play that.
That looks great.
It looks great. I would assume that playing that on PC is going to be the best way to go. Yeah. But realistically, most people don't have PCs that can run that game, so probably play on console. I hope that by that time I'll be able to upgrade my PC, because I want to play that on PC.
I think by that time we might get the 4.5, so the PlayStation 4.
True.
You might be able to run it.
Oh, jeez.
The Neo.
Didn't think about that. But yeah.
If you upgrade your laptop, can you name it the Nebuchadnezzar?
Oh man, my PC.
Yeah,
I'd love to. I'll change. You know what? I will change the PC name to the Nebuchadnezzar. My Wi-Fi, when I get that back, will be the Nebuchadnezzar. Cool. But yeah, I'm very impressed with the trailer. I cannot wait to play. I have not been more hyped for a first-person shooter since Titanfall. Very hyped. Oh, I obviously in Titanfall too. Okay, last bit of information so we can try to get this on the show on the road. Atlus has finally dropped the date for Persona 5, which I am very much looking forward to. The date will be out in Japan on September 15th. Unfortunately, the Western release date has not been announced yet.
Which it will come to the West.
It will come to the West.
Eventually.
This is the thing.
Eventually.
I have a feeling that the earliest will maybe be like November or December. I would like for it to be November and December. But look, localization is not an easy thing, especially for a game like this.
The same 6 month.
Yeah, it's probably.
I think spring.
It'll be spring or early summer.
Yeah,
likely.
I'm very much looking forward to the game. Did you guys see the new trailer? The pop, man, it looks.
I haven't seen it yet.
It looks so great.
Yeah, it looks
very colorful, very pop.
The style that they're going for is, it's the Persona style, but it's still very much.
It's magnified. Yeah. It looks super cool. But I'm just glad that that game's actually coming out, because it was supposed to come out technically last December, at least in Japan, and it didn't. So when you hear about a delay for a game that's coming out in Japan and it's delayed in Japan, that's interesting. But I'm glad it's coming out. I'm really glad it's coming out. I think it'll be interesting. I want to know if cross play works. I'm sorry, the remote play with the Vita.
Maybe
that'd be interesting. Yeah. There's not a lot of games that I would consider that for, but I think Persona's one I consider it for.
Well, the Atlus isn't part of Sony's
Like first party? No.
First party?
No, they're not.
So,
they're owned by Sega now, remember?
Yeah, because... Yeah, that's right. Because Sony, if it belongs to Sony, that's not ever going to happen because they abandoned the Vita. But the third-party people could still feasibly do something with it.
Actually, now that I think about it, Sega, now that they're owned by Sega, Sega is not necessarily at the top tier anymore, but maybe that can speed up the process for localization. Possibly. For all you know. Because it takes time. It does take time. It's not an easy thing.
I mean, like Capcom also isn't is a very Western embedded studio. Anything Capcom will likely come to the West quickly. It still takes things like Monster Hunter 6 months to get here.
Yeah, there's a team for localization, but yeah, I'm excited about that. Really, I think that we're gonna start seeing drops of information like this leading up to E3 for the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I hope so.
So that'll be
nice juicy bits of
info. Yeah, it is. Again, there wasn't a lot of information, but it's important information here. And actually, that's kind of it for the news. Rather short week for news, despite the relevance.
Really juicy tidbits for news, but
and a rant.
I think almost everybody feels the exact same way.
And this is the thing. I think the difference is that I do understand why they're doing it, and I get it. Also, I think people should. This is probably a topic of its own, but people should not blame the developer. The developer realistically has nothing to do with when their game. Well, they have some. Obviously, they do have something to do with when their game releases, but when their publisher wants their game to release and how they will release the game, that's completely up to the publisher.
It's under the thumb of Activision.
Exactly.
Right?
I'm blaming Activision, not Infinity Ward. I know I said some mean things about Infinity Ward not being Infinity Ward. That is just fact. Yeah. But if they've since then redeemed themselves, good for them. Good for them.
For all we know, maybe
it'll be actually really good.
It could be good.
I'm not going to play it though.
Yeah. It could be it doesn't look interesting, but it could be good. Yeah. And it's probably going to be good to
the people who play Call of Duty.
Yeah,
sure. That's fine. You know what? This is the thing. I think I actually talked about it on my blog. Call of Duty for a lot of people is their comfort food. It's the game that they can rely on every year, just even though it goes up and down in quality. FIFA. That's my game, and it comes out every fucking year. Right. So, yeah, that's it. Wow, that's it.
Did we make it? Is this the fabled 1 hour 30 minute podcast?
No. Well, we almost got there. We're at 150 right now, which is still not bad.
Not bad.
As long as we ended
we landed in the 2 hour.
Yeah, we landed under the
2 hour.
Hopefully, we landed the 2 hour mark. So yeah, that's the news. I don't know if I should just leave it the way it is or I should just cut it and do some editing obviously, right? But cut it differently.
I mean, that's up to you. If you want to get experimental, this is our experimental podcast. So.
I'll figure something out.
Experiments on Marco's body.
Experiment. Marcos experiments with his body. We should just have that theme.
Yeah.
Song. I love that theme. It's so great. It's a classic sitcom. Yeah, so we will probably be next week. I would assume there's going to be some more news this week, mostly because a lot of publishers are leaving the traditional E3 kind of facet behind, which is interesting to see. It will be interesting to see how E3 turns out this year just because of that. Yeah. Whether it still has the same presence.
Hopefully we do the same thing that last year where we pick the most important dates, which is basically Microsoft and
Sony,
and then the other developers that are doing their own thing that one day, and we just we just did our gamer holiday thing. So.
Yeah, Bethesda is having their conference again.
Yeah.
Which is surprising.
There was another person, the big developer, who was also doing it. Was it EA?
EA is doing this thing on Sunday also, which is right before the Bethesda or after. I'm not too sure. It's called EA Active or something like that, which I think is the name of one of their games too. Could be wrong. EA Activate, some bullshit like that. But yeah, that's. Well, you know what? For all I know. In my 2 in actually 32 chance. There's only 32 videos up there. I could be going for all I fucking know.
Who knows?
Maybe we'll have to
keep them fingers crossed.
Cheer you on while Ubisoft is on.
So I'm gonna post that stuff on socials and stuff. But if you're listening to this, vote for me, please. Voting starts noon tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. So cool. that'd be pretty surreal. All right, we're gonna call it now before we get to that 2-hour mark. So thanks for joining us. Goodbye, Marcos, and we'll see you next week. Adios. Have a good week.
See you later,
Good
people.
week.
All right, Marcos. What was the title? Marcos fucks Jimmy Fallon. Oh no.